Just curious, on your side of the V, in both cases, we have a profusion of possible tests to choose among. You've offered one, the Solicitor General's offered another, the Sixth Circuit has a slight variance. You've now had time to stew on this case for a number of months and think about it. What's your best advice for us on your side of the V, what test you'd propose?
So I continue to think that the best test is that to look to duties and authorities and to say that if there is neither the exercise of duty nor authority, that's not state action. That's all you need to do to resolve this case. Now, that raises the further question of, well, how do you know whether there are duties and authorities? At that point, we're not talking about a test. We're talking about how to implement the test. And I think the things that the court should be looking at are objective indicia that are capable of disentangling the two capacities. So things like the use of resources, the exercise of supervision, the exercise of exclusive duties, those are things that will help you figure out, is this actually exercising duties and authorities of your office? Or is it instead exercising your First Amendment rights under Lane to talk about the government, but not as the government?
And how does that test interact with Griffin, in your view?
So in Griffin, the officer was exercising the authorities of his office. He was a deputy sheriff, he was wearing a badge, and he arrested someone as the deputy sheriff.
So that's an authority case
That is
in
an authority
your
case.
scheme.
And the counter example is the hypothetical I gave earlier. A police officer in full uniform runs down the street, pushes someone out of the way, but he's doing it to pick up his kid. That may look like he's doing his job, but he's not doing his job and he's not invoking his power. That would not be state action. There's no lower court that would find state action in a case like that. Lower courts have rejected state action in much closer cases than that.
Thank you.
Justice Kavanaugh?
Just to press a little bit on how you would apply the test. So I'm assuming that the information that would be posted is not also posted on a government site. So it's only posted on the personal site. This picks up a little bit on some of Justice Kagan's hypotheticals. But suppose the city manager on the personal site says, we have new recycling rules. You have to use a blue bin, has to be at the curb, will be picked up on Wednesdays. If you have any questions, contact me. That's only on the personal site, not on the official site. Is that state action?
There might well be an argument there because in that point, I assume that there is a duty as a state official to announce the rules, right? People need to know what the rules are.
Okay,
and
so that's very important. I'm going to stop you there because when you described how to implement the test in response to Justice Gorsuch, you said resources, supervision, exclusive duties. So this is really important, I think, because a lot of what local officials do is announce rules. Is announcing rules state action?
Not in and of itself.
Okay, well, we got to, you said
right.
The local officials around the country need guidance. That is definitely true.
I agree with
so announcing rules is part of what they do. They need a clear answer. What's the answer?
I think the clear answer is if this is the only place they are announcing that rule, then that's going to be state action.
Okay, so announcing can't park on the even-numbered side of the street during snowstorms, that's the same.
But but importantly, the start of your question.
If it's only
right.
Yeah. No,
I'm
assuming
it's perfectly fine to announce it officially and then amplify that message on your personal.
So a lot of this will depend on whether it's reposting or exclusive posting. I think.
I agree
on the announcing of rules. Okay.
Yeah.
What about notices? Announcing notices. Okay. It's snowing. Schools are closed tomorrow, and it's only on the personal site.
Again, Your Honor,
that's not a rule, but it's a notice.
I think in general, if what is being the question to take a step back is whether you're exercising a duty of your office.
I know,
those sort of things.
That's not good enough for the local officials who need guidance.
I agree, Your Honor. And so what I'm trying to think through on hypotheticals like that is it fair to say that that is the exercise of a duty? So if it's the announcement of something that you have an obligation to inform the citizenry of, then yes, I agree. And that might be if it's a rule or if you can have a lot of different things. I just don't want to go so far as to say that any time a government official tells the public anything, that is state action, because that's too far. Because there are lots of things that the government official could be telling the public purely in his personal capacity. But for most of the hypotheticals, I think you were asking me in the line of questions you were about to ask, yes, if you're telling people things about the rules of the road of the government, things that as a governmental matter you have a duty to disclose because you can't just spring rules on people or not tell people things they need to know in their official capacity, then if that's the only place you announce that is your government account, then I assume that that's likely going to be a very strong indicia that you're using the account for government purposes.
Your
If I could say one last
personal
thing.
account, you meant.
Sorry, personal. That's not in the next case. In the next case, the mayor is the boss.
Last one, just reminders. Reminder about there have been a lot of thefts and burglaries in the neighborhood. Lock your cars if you're going away for a few days.
See,
tell the police.
and
it's only on the personal
right.
side.
That's the line I was trying to. That sort of speech is something you could do. Any private citizen can do it, and government officials don't have any duty to do that. They could do that in their official capacity. So for that sort of speech, you're going to need something more. You're going to need to see that they're either like using staffers to prepare it, or their bosses are telling them to do it. But the speech by itself isn't going to be enough for something like that.
So I think you've distinguished announcing rules, if it's only on the personal site, from notices of government information, and that's kind of fuzzy, and reminders would not be. Is that?
I think that's right, Your Honor. Again,
That's the kind of practical information that people are going to need, I think.
I hope so. If this court adopts the right test of duties and authorities.
All right. Thank you.